All right, welcome everyone to Owl's Nest. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Sarah. I'm the events manager here. And tonight's author is a local poet, prose writer, and podcaster. And we are celebrating the launch of his third installment in the Watcher trilogy, The Wandering God. And tonight we're having, actually before a live audience, an episode of the Just Joshin podcast. So please welcome a man of many genres, our author Joshua Pantelleresco, and our host for tonight's episode of Just Joshin, Ray Pantelleresco.
First off, I just wanted to say thank you so much for everyone for coming out. It's super weird for me to be on a microphone and not on an aircraft because I'm a flight attendant as well. So if I tell you to put your seatbelts on, I'm super sorry. Thank you so much for Owl's Nest for having us as well. It's super appreciated. It's one of the funnest bookstores in Calgary, if I can say that. I always spend a lot of money here when I come. I find it a little bit ironic in the Alanis Morissette kind of way, that Josh and I are doing this together. Jog his memory a little bit. When we were kids, we lived in a small little town called Park Hill, Ontario, and in Park Hill, we had on our front door, there was a screen door with the tin on the bottom, and we would actually use that and make our own commercials together. So we would go back and forth all the time on this, and we had a little tape recorder as well. So Josh and I would sit there and do stories together, and what I mean by that is I would do stories because I was a wee bit of a microphone hog. I will try my best not to tonight. See how it goes. And poor Josh is and then the whole time. I thought it was really fun to do really annoying noises on said thing, which I will spare all of you of, so you're welcome. So it's actually super fun that we get to do this a million years later. By a million, I mean 15, because we're still quite young. I was 5 at the time, I think, and he was probably 6 or 7-ish, give or take. Yeah, thereabouts. So, I'm Josh's sister, Ray Pantelleresco. We're the Pants to the Rescue duo. When Josh was in junior high, his friends nicknamed him Josh Pants to the Rescue, and I shortly thereafter adopted that. Junior high, yeah?
Oh, no, this was way before that.
Oh, okay, just kidding. Josh always had Pants to the Rescue. Good news.
Yes.
So that's the introduction. I'm his sister. I got nothing else really to say about myself. So let the shenanigans begin.
Uh-oh.
So, true or false, whenever we get together, we play a lot of games.
True.
True or false, whenever we play games, you lose.
False.
Yeah, that's not true. So I thought it would be fun to carry the momentum over tonight, and we're actually going to just play a lot of games tonight. I said games are going to be interview style, so you hopefully will get to know a bit more about Josh that you might not know. There's some questions that I don't even know, to be honest with you. Not many, but there's some. So the first game will be easy on you. You're welcome.
Oh, good.
We're going to play speed questions.
Okay.
So basically, I want the first answer to the top of your head. Don't think about it.
Okay.
Just go.
Okay.
I do have to read these just because, there's only 24.
Oh, only 24. Okay.
Yeah. Maybe we'll get through them, maybe we won't. Start easy. What's your middle name?
Daniel.
Favorite childhood toy?
Ooh, Snowball the Bunny.
I was hoping you would say that.
Yes.
When you eat your Smarties, do you eat the red ones last?
No.
Loser. Your house is burning and you have milliseconds to grab your most favorite things. What do you grab?
That's actually tough.
Mm-hmm.
3 things. Bible my dad gave me. For me, a deck of cards. And
What deck of cards?
the fuck cards.
Yeah, there we go.
Yes. And my grandfather's chessboard.
Pen or pencil?
Pen.
What color?
Blue.
Coke or Pepsi?
Neither, actually.
Well done. You were given a free plane ticket to anywhere in the world to travel. Where do you go?
Gazira Malta.
Apples or oranges?
Oranges.
Milkshakes or Slurpees?
Milkshakes.
A girl with makeup or without makeup?
Without.
Do you sleep with socks on?
Sometimes.
Weird. Cats or dogs?
Cats.
Who was the last person you called?
My grandmother.
And why did you call her?
Wish her happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Oma. Who was the last person you sent a text message to?
You.
Perfect. What was the last thing you put in your mouth?
Alcohol.
Well done, sir. Well done.
Yes.
Is graffiti art?
Yes.
He-Man or Spider-Man?
I'm going to say He-Man. Very close, though. Very
I would have
close.
walked out if you would have said anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cake or death? Any Eddie Izzard fans out there? No, you need to know who Eddie Izzard is.
I guess it's cake.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. Favorite word?
Very. Honestly.
Cool.
Yeah.
Favorite thing about Calgary?
The people.
If a train was traveling at 80 kilometers per hour, and train A, was traveling at 80 kilometers per hour, and train B was traveling at 92 kilometers per hour, at what point on the line would the trains collide?
How far between...
Shit, you never thought you would use that as an auto, hey?
Yes.
Life with music or a life without playing cards? Sorry, life without music or a life without playing cards?
Ooh. I will have to say life without playing cards with me, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
We would have nothing to do. Which question from the above do you wish you could change your answer if there was one?
None.
What was your favorite question in the whole list?
Well, actually, the cards are the music. That was actually really tough.
But you came up with it like pretty quick.
I know, but it was actually really tough.
In what way?
Because I like both. Right? I like both. Cards, so going back to my grandfather, when I was a kid, I still remember this. I used to be able to count cards when I was like, even before I was 1. And I watched this show. I still remember this show very vaguely. It's called like Joker's Wild or Deuce's Wild. It was a card game show. And I learned how to count like to 12 from that show at like before I was 1. And then and some of my happiest memories as a kid was when I would beat Opa in cards. Or he'd beat me in cards, right? Because that was a very happy time in my life. So I can't, like considering everything cards gave to me, I'd have to pick, but I do like music. Music is a beautiful thing, so.
Cool. How was that?
Not too bad.
Yeah. Do you feel warmed up?
I'm a little worried now.
So I thought I'd bring up some fun stuff that I don't think you've ever mentioned on your podcast before.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Why doesn't Dad like your baking?
Oh, because I nearly killed him.
Like
So
you're
no.
like
So this is so actually.
And he was a child, by the way. Like.
So
With your powers.
my first assignment in home ec class was to make chocolate chip cookies. I'm only going to take half the blame on this because I was smart. I got someone that was a chef, or was trained to be a chef, I should say, to help me. So very early on when baking is a very precise science. So if you screw up, you really screw up. So I went and I asked him, was it half a tablespoon or half a teaspoon? That's a big difference in baking. It's a huge difference in baking. He got it wrong too. But by the time we corrected it, it was already in. And at that point in time, so I made those cookies. It is one of the few times in my life my father bought a Coke. He actually bent over. I have never seen that before in my life. My father's a very strong man, still is to this day, but that night, he buckled. He was the only one brave enough to try my chocolate chip cookies. However, I did get revenge on him, a little bit. So, the chef's wife... No, they weren't. No, because this was even better. So, the chef's wife actually taught me how to bake. And so, they thought it would be hilarious. We made banana bread. And I made it, actually. It was really something I'm actually really proud of even to this day. And so they call him. They say, yeah, listen, would you like to talk to the person who made the banana bread? He goes, yeah, sure, no problem. So then I go, hi, Dad. What? Right? So he comes in with this big bottle of Coke just in case, but he didn't actually need it. He actually devoured their banana bread that night. He didn't just like it, he devoured it, which is actually, so I kind of got revenge. He doesn't mind my baking now. Then again, I also made him lemon meringue pie once. That tends to soften him up. So.
Yeah, for Dad, lemon meringue pie is the bribery food. If you want anything out of him, just lemon meringue pie and you're good to go.
Yeah, I can make it. I don't get the chance to bake very much anymore, which is too bad because I actually do miss it, but I don't have any reason to.
But the cake you all ate, Josh baked it. Don't let the Safeway container fool you.
Not at all.
Yeah.
But no, I actually truly enjoy cooking is a lot more like art to me, because in the sense that you don't have to be as precise, like, whereas baking is literally chemistry 101. It's just if you use, it's math. It's if you use this much, you have to use this much. So for me, it's just like that's more of a precision, where the baking's fun is when you have the basic stuff made, and then it's all the extra stuff you can put into it. But where cooking, you can just play with it, and it's fun. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
Yeah. Biased question. Seatbelt sign is on. What do you do?
Probably don't do it.
Don't
Don't.
it up?
I don't generally do
Some people's children.
No, I it's annoying. Like it's just honestly, well, two things. One, so Dad's work accidents involved him wearing a seatbelt. So if he hadn't worn a seatbelt, he actually would have been fine, which is a really weird irony about seatbelts. So there's that. The other thing too is now it's just like the machine is trying to tell me to do something, and I kind of just feel like that, just out of principle, I'm going to fight the machine.
And by the machine, do you mean the pilots?
What?
I said by the machine. Do you mean the pilots?
No, but I'm talking about the cars. I'm talking about cars.
I meant the seatbelt sign on the plane.
Oh, on the plane? No, on the plane I just do it because it's.
Good boy.
Yes.
I'm so proud.
Yes.
Something outside of being an author, podcaster, etc. What is something that your audience doesn't know about you?
I play with herbs all the time. Again.
That's never come up?
No, not usually. I usually will give health advice, but most people don't know where that actually comes from. I experiment all the time. I have a knowledge base of somebody that's been doing it for 50 years. That definitely helps. But I also do my own things, because as much as I do love Dad, he is in a bubble, and you do see that he's in a bubble sometimes. So if you really want information, sometimes I ask him, because I'd be an idiot not to. But I'm also like, there's got to be a point where you got to do some things on your own and try different things on your own. So I generally do it with teas right now, because I like right now I'm doing I'm playing with anti-DHT kind of teas. I'm getting older, and I like that my body can function a certain way. I want to keep it functioning that way until I'm 100 if I can help it. So I'm playing with that kind of stuff right now, and then learning some things, and that's great right this minute. But I've done experiments on stuff that can do everything from fighting cancer to increasing your endurance to just being smarter, more focused, more concentrated. And
so more like me.
Okay.
Perfect.
Yes.
What do you mean by anti-DHT?
Well, again, I'm getting older. Last year I noticed that my body.
He's getting older. I'm not.
Yeah. So yeah, that's right. That's totally right. That's right. You live in the fountain of youth forever and ever in a day.
Glad we got that straight.
But for me, it was like I noticed last year that I had to make some changes, not just because the last tooth fell, but just generally my body was changing. And so I'm in my mid-30s now, and so I'm like, well, I want to keep my strength up. I like to keep my hair if I can do that. I like some of the basic anatomical functions to be perfectly functional all the way.
Like your toes?
Yes, totally my toes.
And your ears.
In your ears and all that stuff,
okay,
right?
Cool.
But it's just you get older, your body changes, and you have to look at ways of taking care of yourself differently than what you did in your 20s and in your early 30s.
But drinking vodka is one of those things, right?
Vodka's actually okay.
It has vitamins.
Well, no, I actually so
Superfood.
Totally. No, actually,
and we're drinking
we are drinking coconut vodka, but I actually use vodka to cut herbs, because when you make extracts, right? You take it. So what you do is, let's say I want to make, a rhodiola herb, because rhodiola is awesome. I'll take rhodiola, I'll put it in vodka for like 4 to 6 weeks, because what'll happen is I will cut the herb to like an essence point. And then what I'll do is I'll bottle it, and I'll take it. What I've done is I've taken the herb and I've made it stronger. I've used the alcohol as a cleaner. Vodka's great. Gin's great for that too. It's some of the darker stuff that actually, do you know what
else vodka is great for?
Yes, it is. Absolutely. I've been doing it right before even the show started. It's been fantastic.
Okay, cool. Glad we got that talk.
Yeah.
Cool. I'll leave this up to you. Do you feel like answering more questions?
Sure,
or do you want to play a game?
We'll play a game. We'll go back to questions later, but we'll play a game. Yes.
So, you may have been able to tell, maybe not, I don't know, but we're a little bit competitive in our family. Again, I usually win, but the days that he wins, it's because I let him. And something you might not know about Josh is he's actually a really good artist. So, we're going to have a competition. This is the first part of audience participation because I wanted to include you guys too. Josh and I are going to draw something in competition on these beautiful canvases. But you guys get to pick what we're going to draw. So you can be as nice to us as you want. You can be
Dueling watermelons!
dueling watermelons.
I think it's got to be a unicorn.
You know watermelon?
We even have a unicorn farting out a watermelon.
Oh, jeez.
I don't think I want this.
I don't want to do that either. So that's for you,
Happy to
sir.
slap a unicorn.
Either or situation.
Although I do want to tell a story, if that's okay.
Yeah, by all means.
So the next book I have is The Cloud Diver. Two things. But the book's being dedicated to her. She also, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's book number 2.
No, it's book number 4. Because
Well.
it's 1, 2, 3, but it's my first novel. So,
Yeah.
so the first novel, The Cloud Diver. So
I meant
she
the
comes.
second one being with mentioning me in the front.
Yeah. No. So she goes to me one day. So listen, can you put a unicorn in your story? The rainbow thing came later, but she goes, can you put a unicorn in your story? I'm like, yes, I can put a unicorn in the story. And immediately I had 3 different ways I was going to kill the unicorn because I'm an evil bastard. Then she goes to me, but you can't kill it. You just can't kill it. I'm like, but, nope, you can't do it. I looked at her, and she's got she actually does have a quote unquote, I would say a puppy dog look when she doesn't really want me to do something. And I'm like, fine, I won't kill the unicorn. You happy? The rainbow thing came from Virginia Caraway Stark. She started giving me these unicorn emojis with rainbows, and I just went with it from that point on. But she started it.
No big deal.
Yeah.
And the unicorn thing for me, if anyone was curious, when I was a wee little one, so like 2 years ago, My Little Pony was my favorite. Unicorns were my favorite. So they intermittently come back into my life, and I'm super stoked they're a trend right now. So that's for you.
Okay.
So did we decide on a unicorn, or did we decide on dueling watermelons? Anyone?
Vote here.
All right, let's do a vote.
Yeah.
Unicorn? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah,
That'd be-
I think that would end really quickly. What if it didn't?
Cool.
I guess a unicorn's dueling a watermelon?
Sure.
Okay.
Here's the catch, because I'm a bit of an asshole. And to give Josh an upper hand, I'm going to do mine blindfolded.
That's right. And that's because she's super talented in comparison. She's more practiced for sure. We'll say that for sure.
More practiced, yeah.
Well, probably more practiced than I am when it comes to this kind of stuff.
So, yeah. Let's do a time limit.
Okay. Now, this would be really cool if we could find a way to stand up so people can actually watch us as we go here.
Well, you could just easily,
Yes.
if you
Oh.
wanted to.
Turn your chair around.
Yeah.
Just hold it off to the side.
So,
Then I can film it.
yeah. Okay, we'll do it like that, actually.
How long do you want?
What's it? So you guys won't fall asleep over there if we go 5 minutes, will you?
Oh, 5 minutes is too long.
5 minutes too much.
Jesus, child.
Okay. So. Okay. What were you thinking?
Well, at first I was going to do a minute, but dueling a unicorn dueling a watermelon, I'm like, oh, I'm going to need at least 2.
Okay.
I
So.
don't think you'll lose anyone if you go 2 minutes.
Yeah, okay. So we'll go 2 minutes.
Hold on one sec. Stand by. Okay. It's set at 2:04. As soon as the eye mask is on, we'll do ready, set, go, and then we'll go.
Yes.
You got this in your head? You know what you're doing?
Yes, actually I do. Scaringly enough, I do. Yes.
Words don't count.
No.
You actually have to-
I got this. I know.
Those are famous last words. If anyone ever wanted to.
Yes, actually, no, they are famous last words. I didn't say it was good at the end. I just said I have a plan. I didn't say, but again, plan ends when the first line's wrong. So.
Cool. So from one artist tip to the other, if you wanted whatever, go big. Don't do something little and.
No, I got it. I got you.
Okay.
I got you. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
I may have an idea. Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
So how many fingers am I holding up? Oh, you're supposed to be asking me. Sorry. Just kidding. Okay. Ready?
Love my sister. I really do.
Ready? That's the vodka talking. Go.
Yes.
More vodka.
More vodka. Someone might have to drive home later today.
And horses are evil, by the way.
Oh, I know. When I was actually a kid,
Yeah.
I was actually a kid.
2 years ago.
Sometimes years ago. Right? A couple years ago.
Maturity, I've never really changed. Oh, man. I feel so bad for my
Don't
horse.
don't do that while I'm drawing. I'm right.
Because this is serious business.
That's all totally serious.
can't make jokes. I actually spent a long time. Oh shoot! I lost my spot. Oh, poor horse. Oh well. Let's make him a big smile. Maybe some nostrils. Maybe some nose hairs. I have no idea what I'm drawing. It might look phallic, but who knows. Yeah, I used to spend a lot of time practicing drawing horses. Big horn, because size matters.
I'm sorry. I can't step up.
Mohawk, because he's a punk. So you guys all know what the abstract actually means, and hopefully that's a good tail.
Oh, good lord.
Yeah. Since this is my unicorn, oh shoot, I lost my spot. He's gonna have a speech bubble, and he's gonna say, I love.
I think I drew an aardvark, not a unicorn, but that's okay. I'll live with it.
It's okay. I totally forgot to give my unicorn a sword, so I'll give him a hand instead. I'm actually a really good artist sometimes. And his sword is actually a spaghetti noodle. And my watermelon. This is going to be my interpretation of Josh. I love you.
I love you too.
So he kind of looks like Humpty Dumpty. I wish you had glasses right now, to be honest. I'll give you Mr. Potato Head feet. Hopefully you'll do shoelaces. And hopefully that's in the right spot. You're really quiet over there. Are you thinking that hard?
Yes, I'm thinking very hard.
You should see the smoke.
It's, it's just coming right
I
out.
can smell it. It's terrible, actually.
Sorry.
Yeah. Shoot, I lost my spot again. Really, I should draw blindfolded way more often. This is actually way more fun. Alright, so he needs a hand. So since this is Josh, he's going to do a peace sign. And he's going to have... do you have long eyelashes?
I don't know. Do I have long eyelashes? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
He does now.
No,
Alright, so he's got a unibrow, not really in real life, people, but let's do some eyelashes. And a big dorky smile. And your sword around the ground, which is also a spaghetti noodle. Are we done?
We're done. I'm good.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, that's
Not bad.
Too
That's not
bad,
no.
actually.
You're.
You don't even have a sword.
No, I don't need a sword. They're ready to
Oh,
duel.
the spaghetti noodle is in his mouth. There's a unicorn with a hand coming out of his head. That really does look like Josh, though.
Your watermelon is very coquettish.
Yes.
With eyelashes, but
Yeah. I'm actually a little bit
that's
impressed.
supposed to be Josh?
It is Josh. Don't compare.
Josh with just a bit of mascara.
Just
Yeah.
a wee bit of
Thank
mascara.
you.
And Converse All-Stars, that's what that's supposed to be. Nice.
I made a zombie melon and a very terrible unicorn, but horses are evil. They are so hard to draw.
They are.
Yeah.
Not too bad, though. Unicorns usually have, like, a triangle.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah.
The I love you is at a speech bubble because he's slurring his words. He also had vodka. I heart vodka. Cool. Did you sign your name?
I did not sign my
Some
name.
people's children. One day this is going to be worth millions.
It will be, totally.
Yeah. Well done.
Yeah.
I still think mine's better.
Yours probably. No, I don't have a problem with that.
Of course, doesn't have any fat though.
Well, you know. Hey, listen.
Poor little
It
horse.
was 2 minutes.
Well, if you need an artist for your book,
Yeah, totally.
can this be my submission? My
We'll talk.
Anybody talk to you? No.
Oh, no. We'll talk. It's we gotta negotiate price and stuff like that.
Oh, you can have this.
Oh.
This is a gift.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know
And you're
what?
still hesitating. That's like where my heart breaks.
No.
She's like, well, how do I tell her no?
No.
How do I tell her that
Actually, that's not what's going on in my head. It's like, could I actually make that work? And the answer actually is yes.
Oh,
Right
it's
in
a
the
great
line.
cover, actually.
I don't know about cover. I don't know about cover.
Well, you'd have to justify. Well, no, because it's you and your unicorn. Oh, he's not farting out rainbows, but I don't have a
Yeah.
blindfold on anymore. Cool.
One quick note, Herb. She used to do. I don't know if are you still doing the paint and.
On request, not at the.
Yeah. She actually used to do a at a bar. She actually you drink like it's almost like
Paint night.
Paint night where you paint and you're drinking paint. And she's a really good instructor. I went there once. It was a lot of fun. It was probably the best drawing I've ever done. No joke.
And by drawing, he means painting.
Yeah.
And he chose the topic, someone who is super artistically inclined. And what did you choose?
Dragon.
There you go.
Yes, I chose the dragon.
Because
So
dragons are super easy.
yes, super.
Yeah. Well done, sir. Well done.
Yes.
How was that?
Wasn't too bad.
Yeah, not too terrible.
No. I thought it was hilarious. Like, she's showing off, of course.
Well, I could have done my left hand too.
I know, you
but
told
it
me.
actually would have been a bit more, less Mr. Potato Head and more watermelon.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't give you a nose.
No.
But you did have a really nice unibrow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's okay.
That's awesome. Who's your favorite superhero?
Green Lantern.
Why?
Because Green Lantern is legitimately the incarnation of imagination. He's basically it doesn't matter which Green Lantern you choose. Their power is they see it in their head and they make it real. And so that's part one. Part two, when my parents divorced, like when they went through their separation.
Just his parents.
Yes, right, totally my parents. Right, but
Like when they do something bad, they're his parents, but when they're good, they're my parents.
That's right. That's totally how we'll do that. But I remember Dad wanted to give me something mentally to do. So the first 2 comic books I ever got were Starman number 13 and Green Lantern number 1. And I've been reading Green Lantern since that point in my life. So it's always, like I said, I as much as I hate to admit that I've seen that movie, like I said, I love the concept. It's one of my favorites. So.
Cool. To be honest, Green Lantern is one of the few, because of you actually, that I've always wanted to really read.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the humor of Deadpool, which is fine. But yeah, just always intrigued. Like I remember being kids and you having the little Green Lantern toy, and you squeezed his legs together, and he lifted up his little lantern or whatever.
Yeah.
It's one of those fun toys.
Yes.
I was easily amused as a child.
Still are easily amused now.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Where do your story ideas come from?
Oh God.
From God.
Ultimately, I guess. I know. That's always a hard question to answer.
Why?
Because they don't come. Okay, so Cloud Diver literally came from my conversation with Ron.
Surprise! And
Because we were talking about the idea about the cloud being archaeology. Like that was a conversation we had on your podcast, and I literally wrapped in my head. And again, I borrowed a little bit from Craig, who's in the audience right now. And Craig, I love this concept of how crash dive works. And I just could I do a pulpy story with the idea that the cloud is archaeology? And it's like Indiana Jones meets the Matrix. And literally, one thing led to another. The silliness came later. That's where that comes from. But my ideas now, a lot of them just come from just real life things like the Watcher came from my disdain for having a day job. I still disdain having a day job because I just know that there's more to life than going to work and punching a clock. I hate that idea that we spend so much of our time doing that just to make ends meet. I really, really despise it. And the Watcher to me is that outlet for that. I mean, there's like that's what matters to me with the first book in particular. Some of my other ideas just come from like, you know, just some neat, like sometimes I just play. Like I came up with this idea of could I do a noir story? And the very first thing that came to my mind was a reverse rape scene, which she has read.
That's reverse anything.
No. Well, but yeah. So I mean, it just but it's one of those situations where it just like I will sometimes my ideas are what if this happened. Sometimes my ideas are based on my genuine feelings for how things are. And sometimes I will just have a random conversation with somebody and I know something will click. And it will be like, how can I make this work? And like I said, so I mean anything can trigger an idea. I find now that I'm at that point now where I have too many ideas. There are things I still would really love to. There are stories I still really, really want to tell. I don't know if I'm ever gonna have time to tell them because I just have too many things I'd like to do and say. So
do you have like a notebook then that you keep all this stuff in?
Some of it, yes. Like so, there's an idea like if I ever did a really serious, there's a serious prose novel I have in my head about comparing the 1930s to now. And that's just germinating in my head right now. It's not anything really super solid yet, but it's just an idea that I've had for a long time. There's just a part of me that just recognizes I'm not ready to write that story yet. It's just I'm not there.
Does it involve unicorns?
No.
Then I'm not interested.
No, okay, fair enough.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, but I mean, I have ideas like that in my head that I don't. Again, I'm gonna let them percolate and grow and let them see if they will amount to anything. And then there's some ideas like what I'm working on right now, which is Alice in Wonderland as Greek mythology. That one I have a ton of notes for because it's just so easy, and it's like right now. And that I think if you ask most of the audience who are writers here that same question, they probably have something similar. They have ideas that are really developed in their head. They have some ideas that aren't as developed in their head. Then they just have kernels in the back here and there that you may or may not get to someday. And that's kind of like the same thing.
Cool. Who is your favorite character out of all the characters that you've created or found in your books?
Oof. I really enjoy Johnny in Cloud Diver. He's such a coward. He's so fun to write. It's cool having somebody that just wants to go in the opposite direction of what he's facing, and he's so openly honest about it. It is so fun to write him. Kristen's my favorite, I think, though, if I had to pick one. I made a 10-year-old that broke out of prison. She's just a legitimate badass, and, you know, she's tougher than I am. And I look at that and go, that's my favorite. That's probably my favorite character. She was my favorite of in the Watcher series to write, by far, because it was just... like, she became this really, really, really... I didn't know who she was when I started, and then it's like, wow, you're kind of someone I kind of want to be a little bit more like. So.
Cool. And who was your inspiration for her? What was your inspiration? How did you find her?
To be honest with you, it just comes back that I was... Up until I wrote her, I was really uncomfortable writing women. It's hard because I don't have that headspace in my head about how to do it. And I'm like, well, I have to develop the Watcher's world a little bit more if I'm going to do a sequel. And my publisher wanted a sequel. And I was like, okay, so what do I do here? I didn't want to just focus on the Watcher because the Watcher is already a strong character. I needed at least another strong character. So, and I thought, well, I have two other female characters I could use, and I could use the other male character. But I'm like, well, the one I didn't talk about very much, though, it's like, who is she? Because that's the one character I didn't really deal with in the first book at all very much. Like, the other characters had a little bit more expression to them, so they would have been maybe a little easier to get into, but they already kind of had some characteristics. She didn't. So it was like, okay, she's kind of like a blank slate. So let's just go with it and kind of see what happens.
Cool. Do you do a lot of research for your...
Yes and no. The settings, no. I kind of let my imagination just go, because I can figure out how this works later. Cloud Diver is a lot of research though, because I'm not only just looking up the world of the cloud is completely my imagination, good, bad, or indifferent. That's the way it is. But the idea of VR technology, how the mind's stimulated, I've been doing some research on that. I've been doing some research on the human genome because of where I want to go with the series. I've been doing research in part also because of personal interest on nanotechnology and robotics in general and where it's going and how it's evolving, and because those are things I want to deal with in that series. We are coming to a very interesting point in our evolution where the question of what is human, what is alive, is a legitimate thing, and we're coming up with stuff like artificial intelligences that have no shape or form or like that we know of or we fully understand now. And it's fascinating that we live in that kind of world, but we also live in a world now where technologies are becoming smaller and smaller, and they're more atomic, subatomic, nano, pico, and it's fascinating that we have evolved to such a thing that we're not worried about big structures so much anymore, but little ones, tiny ones. And that's a really fascinating, like, how would that, and you can see the changes in the world this technology is going outside every day. It's amazing to see just what's going on now. So, and then again, looking at the human genome, because computer code and human genome aren't so far apart anymore. Sooner or later, someone's going to have this idea of combining the genome with programming, because it's all language at the end of the day. And it's like, well, what would that look like? How would that be? It's one of the reasons why I'm kind of interested right now in what's going on with the trans movement, because it's almost, in one sense, they are pioneers of that in a lot of ways, because they are experimenting of the possibility of what a human being could be, right? And I know that's not necessarily why they're doing it, but it's really interesting to see that what they're doing now might become in 10, 20 years a very commonplace thing. And it's so you make those changes in yourself, you go through all these processes. Are you alive? Are you human? Are you the same person? Those are really, I mean, these are questions we're going to be asking more and more in the next 10, 20 years. So I want to have that as kind of like background in the Cloud Diver, even though I may not go into super great big detail. I find good fiction has real depth when it has real information into it, and you add a dimension to a story doing that. So
Cool. Yeah. Does it bother you that I keep jumping back and forth from questions? Okay, because
No.
I'm not really having a flow, but all my questions that I prepped for this podcast on a red-eye flight a couple days ago, going from Calgary to Toronto. I had a little bit of time because everyone's trying to sleep those flights, so and I had a bunch of questions that I thought would be intriguing to ask you, but there was no real flow to them.
that's fine.
Super random, not related at all. You said everything you wanted to say about that.
Oh, absolutely.
Awesome. Have you ever gone camping in a tent, not a trailer?
Yes.
When? Because I actually don't even know this answer.
Actually, we right before, right after you left with Mom. Actually, Dad and I went on our first camping trip in Park Hill.
Oh, cool.
We were leaving. So we knew we were leaving, and so we thought it'd be cool because we're right near a conservation park, and so we never, or there's a park that like there's a lot of open area.
You mean the Pinery, or do you mean?
No. It's just literally outside the city. There's a campground there, and so we went there. That was the first time. Second time I've done it was I did it again with Dad a year later. We did it a year later. We tried to do a yearly thing, but with our lifestyle, that wasn't really doable. But yeah, no, I actually enjoy it. It's not something, again, it's just with the way my life is now, I don't get the opportunity to really do those things, but I love that kind of stuff, actually.
That kind of stuff, meaning?
Camping, hiking, exploring different places. One of the coolest places one of the coolest trips Dad and I went on when I was in high school. We went to Alert Bay in BC, and it was really cool because it was the first time I ever did a sweat lodge. That was really, really cool. And then the other thing that was really neat was when we went up to Alert Bay. There's nothing there. I have never in my life experienced anything that's that timeless. Like it's one thing like even Vancouver's slower than here. You almost feel like time is moving a little slower in Vancouver than it is here. But to feel it to actually stop,
Right.
it's an incredible feeling, and I wasn't ready for it then, but the idea of traveling, seeing things as untouched, or if touched, not very, very touched by just civilization, is really cool to me. And also just seeing older cultures. Native cultures are really, really fascinating to me too. Just from a medicinal point of view, even they are very, very, very fascinating to me. So. Cool.
Do you care to elaborate? Like you said, medicinal, of course, but like
because they were here first. I mean, and the fact is like one of the things that I got again when I went to the sweat lodge. The tribe there was awesome. I got to go in the sweat lodge. They did a bit of a ceremonial thing with the whole thing was you got a pipe. You had the option to smoke or not, but what you did.
Did you smoke?
No, didn't smoke.
That's the difference between him and me right there.
Yes.
Keep going.
Yes. But I did all my relations, and then you pass, and you just recognize like it's a completely different way of looking at things, and it's lost to some degree, right? Especially like I look what goes on here, and I just see the fact that we don't. I've never seen a native culture treated like I've seen it here. Now I'm not saying it isn't done other places, but I've never seen that until I came here. When I saw what I saw in Alert Bay or on the island, there was a sense of pride. There was a sense of self-respect there, and it was, even though I didn't fully understand or was immersed in that culture, there was something very real and genuine and there. And when I come here, I see people that are very beaten down and that have been broken and that have been told to be a certain way because this is what everybody sees them as. Now maybe they don't do themselves some favors sometimes, but I've just, like, for what I've seen that way, it's a night and day kind of thing to me. And I just think that once upon a time, they were here before we were, and it's just interesting to me to see how that went up. And medicinally, it's just neat because they use drums and medicine kits, and it's just neat stuff. And the cool thing about those gifts, though, is they are passing around to people who aren't necessarily of a native culture. When I was in Snowflake, Arizona, this accountant for the gas station I was working at came in to do an audit. We just started talking, and she does it. She does the drums, she does the medicine pouches, all that stuff. It was a really unexpected, but really cool thing to see.
So she wore her medicine.
She didn't wear. No, she didn't wear it. She wasn't wearing it because she was working, but she had it. She had one on her. But,
okay.
Yeah, but just not. She was in a more corporate kind of mode. But we had like 5 minutes, and we just started talking. And she's like, I don't usually talk about this. And we just, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Kind of related, kind of not. Who is the most unique person you've ever met?
Oh God, I can't answer that. I can't legitimately answer that question.
Okay, one of the most unique people. Can I also just interject that I'm super impressed with how quick you're able to actually answer these questions, because some of them.
Oof. Okay. Her.
Her meaning who?
Sarah Johnson.
Wow.
Because. I'm sorry. You're gonna get spilled out here in a nice way. So when I met Sarah, she was a little awkward at first. I think partially because
Josh is never awkward when you.
Oh, I'm totally awkward.
Never.
Yes. Yeah. No. But and I'm actually gonna mention somebody else here. So I'm not just gonna pick on you. You were so openly you. And I really dug that about you. I still dig that about you. It's my favorite thing. We're different in a lot of ways, but the thing I really respect about you more than anything else, and not just because you're a great writer, but you are so you. And I really genuinely appreciate that about you. Consequently, you, Miss Lori, fall into a similar category.
Lori who?
Lori Zotman. Now, so Lori, Lori, I didn't get to know very well. I didn't get to know very well until she was on my podcast. You have a very good gift of you can make someone laugh and cry. You are very, very, your range is incredible, and I literally I feel like, again, it's just the authenticity there. I feel I know that with you, like that's you, and that's awesome, and I love that about you. The trait I most admire in people is if they can be authentically them. There's no walls. There's no. We all have to kind of wear to some degree a mask, and because we live in a world where people try to beat you down. But when people can actually be open, I really dig that. It's one of my favorite things about people in general. If they can be that way. Consequently, my least favorite thing about people now is when they kind of armor themselves up in something like their reputation or their being shy is one thing. I can respect that. It's when they try to come off like something that they're not. And I can usually tell that pretty quick now. And when they are like that, it's just like that's a turn off. So.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like I know you relatively well. There's still some secret corners in you, but that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that's it. And so that's why there's certain people I really it's actually my favorite part about the podcast is I get this really cool opportunity to talk to everybody, even the people that don't like to talk so much, right? And I get a sense of who they are. It's my favorite thing about the podcast. I make some surprising connections. Adam Dries is in the audience. I think our first podcast was awesome. Not even for the podcast itself, just we kept talking for like a half hour afterwards. I'm not going to talk about everything we talked about, but there was a legitimately really, really solid connection there. And if I hadn't done this podcast, I never would have had that opportunity to get to know someone like Adam better. Mr. Jim right here is again, it's just a really cool connection. Just like, hey, we're on a similar kind of vein, and it's just like one of those things where I get this opportunity to, even if it's just for a half hour to an hour, I get to know really amazing people, and that's the coolest thing about what I do. And it's not like just people here, people that are really well known, people that are unknown, that are just getting started. It doesn't matter. It's just you get this. That's the coolest thing about what I do.
So the more fair question would have been like, what do you find most interesting about everyone in the room, as opposed to your most
Well, no, because I told you I can't answer. There's not an answer to that question, because I get this opportunity to meet different people, and I still get to do that all the time. So I can look at anybody and I can see what they're strong at. I can see what I really like about them. I can see what I really what I admire, what I can admire about each and every person, what I can learn from too. So so for me, just narrowing it down to just one person is not fair, right? Now there are some people I've done on this show that I really did not enjoy having on my show, right? But that number is very small, right? Most of the people I meet, I have a really great time with. So.
Cool.
You want to follow up with something?
I do, and I'm just trying to think of how to word it.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, do you find that same interaction in everyday life?
Not as much as I'd like to. You gotta understand too that when I'm writing, right? When I'm writing, I'm with people. I'm by myself, and I'm spending a lot of my time, whether developing a story or developing characters. Like there's a lot of isolation in that alone. My day job isn't exactly what I call very stimulating on an intellectual level, and I deal with a lot of petty stuff for my day job, and I don't really have the patience for it. So I don't get the the type of people the interactions on that level I don't get as often. But then again, I do stuff like Right Club, which I do get that opportunity to be interactive with people like that often enough. But it's just like I said, that there is a little bit. I would like more. I'd be lying if I said I wouldn't like more of it, but I do get some. So.
Yeah, fair enough. So you find it happens less like going to the grocery store versus.
Yeah, it happens again because part of it's also today is that everybody's on their phone. So I mean, if you introduce yourself and you say hi, they want to run away, kind of screaming at you because it's like, what are you doing? I don't know you. Well, I mean, and it's true. Like I just on Facebook, person's like, oh my God, someone tried to friend me on Facebook, and my response was, well, yeah, it's social media. Isn't the goal to be social? Well, no. It's just I just want people I know. But everybody's got a different thing. Saying hello to a stranger now is such a, I wouldn't say risky thing for me. I'm not really worried about that. But I find it makes, if I'm very forward, if I'm very open and friendly, I frighten people a lot more now than I used to, I'd say, 10 years ago.
Is it your beaming smile?
Oh, totally.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yes. So it's totally. But I mean, it's just one of those things. Like I think part of it is today is it's also just we're a lot as a culture, we're a lot more insular than we used to be, and that's everybody, right? And so I'm looking at people that are coming up. When I do a convention, I find that some of the basic stuff I learned as a kid is not used anymore, like eye contact. I know it sounds like a weird, small, simple thing, but I'll say hi, and I'll be like, and they'll be like, whoa, you're saying hi, and you're looking at me, and then it draws them in because I'm just doing eye contact. It's nothing super hard or anything like that, but.
Yeah, fair enough. Do you ever, like, I find, like, I call myself super creepy all the time because I talk to strangers all the time, and I will blatantly go out and compliment them and start conversations.
No, if I was okay, so if I was like in the city, like say Windsor, Ontario, I do that all the time. Because that down there, that is the norm, or it was the norm when I was living there. If I'm in a city like London, Ontario, I don't do that at all because there it's like I find there it's like when I lived in London, it was like people had this like this little world they carved out for themselves, and they had a few people that they would go in, and that was it, right? Now Windsor, when I lived in Windsor, it was great because I could go on the bus, I could talk to the bus driver, I could talk to someone literally on the seat. When I was there last time, I was talking to a biker. I was at the Greyhound just coming into town, and I was like 5 o'clock in the morning, so no sane individual was up. So me and him were just shooting the shit. Just say, hey, what's up? What's going on? Where you going? What you doing? You know, we talked about women for a minute, and then we moved on our way. It was a beautiful little conversation.
They're smiles, just to clarify.
Yes.
Yeah, they're smiles.
Yeah.
And that they're worth more than 2 goats.
Yes. Yes.
Maybe 3.
Exactly. So I mean, I find I tend to do more of a feel for the room kind of deal. If I get the feeling that it's welcome, I do it. And every once in a while, though, I mean, I'm kind of like you. I'll take a chance. So you know what?
Oh no, I like awkward, so I go for gold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go for gold.
Go for gold.
Go for. Yes.
Very cool.
Yeah.
How are you feeling we're doing for time?
We got, we'll say 4 more minutes.
Cool. Do you guys want to play another game?
Yep.
This one humiliates Josh.
Yeah.
Okay. But you guys also have to play along a little bit.
Oh no.
So I thought it could be fun to include you guys into getting to know Josh more, putting him on the spot. By doing a version of Never Have I Ever. You guys have all played that game?
No.
Kind of, sort of, yeah?
Do we need drinks or what?
Nope.
Oh,
No,
okay.
we're just going to make him look like an idiot. Yeah, okay, cool. I mean, yes, you need drinks.
I might need a drink.
No, you get to do this sober.
Oh, good.
So before you guys came, some of you were here, but I made 2 little cups. And I clearly, that's normal. Anytime I draw.
Yeah.
So this is the yes cup, this is the no cup. What our job is to do is say, never have I ever. You can make it up, you don't have to be truthful about it. Just basically, if you want him to sound like he's doing an animal noise. So if the answer is yes. Never have I ever kissed a girl. Never have I ever kissed a girl. Josh has kissed a girl, so he would pick something under the yes. The yes, he has to sound like an animal. No, he changes his position. Some of them are awkward. Oh, I didn't do downward dog. That would have been awesome. So the animal one you just have to do once, maybe twice, 3 times if you feel really happy. The nose, though, you have to stay in that position until there's another no.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Oh,
Kinda, sorta.
no.
It's sort of like Twister.
Kind of. But one player, and he's on the spot. So.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So maybe I will, sorry camera, put these here so you guys can see what he's drawing out of. Yes, no, yes.
Okay.
Okay. I will start. The faster you guys go, the funnier this could be. I was a little bit creative on the animals. If you don't like my animal choices, you can say the animal you'd like him to sound like. That's totally fine too. I'm good for improv as well. Yeah?
Oh,
Good? Yeah? Okay. Never have I ever worn guys' shoes.
So I'm never have I ever. That would be a no.
No, that's you.
Yes, that's me.
You have worn guys' shoes.
Yes,
so
I have.
you are a yes.
So I don't even know how to sound like an elephant.
Well, how do you think an elephant sounds?
They trumpet.
Yeah.
It's a tip.
Thank God for friends.
I don't even know I can do it. That's the thing.
It helps if you make a trunk.
Yeah, it does actually.
Yeah.
That's under trunk. That's
This is the trunk.
size matters, Josh.
I'll spot you. You can actually, I'll get it for you. All right, go ahead. Awesome.
Hey.
Okay, now you try. He's a mute elephant.
Yes.
Anyone else?
Oh no.
Be creative.
Never have I ever gone streaking.
You know what? I actually have not done that yet.
Do you believe him?
No.
I said you guys can lie, so it's fine. Yeah.
Yes. So the answer is no. Oh God.
Oh, yay! I was hoping you'd get that one.
I've come close, but I'm not quite streaked, so I can't. I have to be honest.
Anyone else?
Never have I ever been arrested.
That's a no. I've been in the back of a car, but no, I've never been arrested. Oh Lord. So is a pirouette okay?
Yeah,
Okay.
but you have to stay in that position or keep doing it.
Okay, ballet.
That's not ballet.
Oh, sorry.
Ballet is.
Oh, okay.
But your hands have to be delicate.
Delicate like this.
He's an awkward flamingo.
I know, awkward.
Stretched flamingo.
Yeah. Crucified flamingo. I forgot.
No,
it's
like
kind
your
of,
feet. Do your feet like kind of like.
like this.
There you go,
So-
but more
so-
out because you're not awkward enough.
Oh.
Sweet Jesus, child. I got all the grace. Keep going. You're not done yet.
Okay.
Never have I ever swam in the ocean.
I have done that.
You still get to do your ballet.
I know. I got.
So another
I can't.
thing.
I have to draw. I can't do both at the same time.
Well, that's silly. And what did it say on that one?
Cock.
There we go.
Thank goodness.
Keep going. You're not done doing your ballet.
I know.
You're so pretty.
I am so pretty.
So pretty.
Anyways, but that.
Never have I ever lived in London, Ontario. I just really want him to sound like animals.
It's not me. Honestly, am I doing the buzzing sound there?
Whatever you think that sounds like.
This is a bee. I don't know. Like these.
They don't say their names.
Yeah.
There you go. Anyone else? I'll keep going. It's fine.
Never have I ever gone to see a psychic.
I have.
He thanks you for stop doing the ballet, that's for sure.
Yes.
Potentially.
Oink, oink, oink.
So it's very similar to.
Oh no, the answer was yes?
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. The answer is.
You're so pretty. You're my favorite ballerina.
Never have I ever robbed a bank.
Okay, that's a no.
Okay, you're his favorite person.
A friend.
You're a good friend.
I got a twirl now.
Clear the room.
Yeah.
'Cause I
You have to keep doing
I
it.
know, I know.
No, you're not done. I like that there's a little heel kick as well. Well
Heel
done on
kick.
that.
I certainly couldn't do it one foot forever. I'd probably fall on my face.
Oh, do you want more vodka?
No, I could do that thing fall on my face too.
Never have I ever done anything like this
That's a yes. No.
Thank you.
That's not a yes.
It is a yes.
Shoot, great. Ribbit. Ribbit.
Never have I ever eaten food from the garbage.
I like that one.
I do. It's evil because no matter what I say here, this is awkward.
Yep.
So.
But everyone's been tempted.
Actually, you know what? Yes. I have no shame in admitting that.
Yeah.
Yep.
He still does the heel kick. That's the best part.
Yeah, I know.
He didn't do that for his ballet, which would have been more fitting, but he'll do it for the twirl.
Yeah, because that's.
Keep twirling. You don't get to stop. You can go the other direction if
No,
you want.
I don't want to go the other
Okay,
direction.
cool.
I'm here.
Never have I ever written a book.
That's a yes. Let's see what we got here. Do they make a sound?
Which one is that? You can make up whatever sound you want for that.
They don't make a sound though.
You got goldfish.
Oh.
But
Wham.
yeah, and I'm like, and it could be a magical goldfish that's like, hi, my name is Henry.
My name is Henry. I can't stop twirling. Please eat me.
Flush me down the toilet. Put me out of my misery. That's not one of the options. Yeah.
Two more.
Two more?
Two more, yeah,
Okay.
because we're running out of time. So.
Never have I ever had an embarrassing moment in French class.
You're terrible.
I am very terrible.
You're terrible.
You might want to tell the story.
I do and I don't. So, I'm gonna
And you can end with that, but you have to do the animal noise first.
Woo!
Oh, well, very
Okay,
fitting to
so-
end with that one.
So grade 7, French class. I was called to the front of the office. I went to the front to do a presentation. I was in very short shorts. On the way up, things rose to the occasion. Right there,
Not
there.
his toes.
Not my toes. And I was going right to the front of the class. I had no way to cover up. So it was a very awkward thing where I'm literally right there going like this. The
What
word
kind of pants were you wearing?
short shorts. There was no hiding this at all. It was just like, oh my god. On the plus side, after going through that experience, because I got called back up, still ready and willing and able to go.
In more ways than one?
Yes. Yes, indeed.
Super awkward because you were like preteen, but keep going.
Yes, I was 12. It was brutal. And then, but on the flip side though, it's really hard to actually embarrass me now because literally the worst thing that could happen in front of an audience kind of did. So it's just like, yeah, it doesn't really like doing awkward stuff in front of people, as you just clearly witnessed, does not really bother me that much anymore because I've been through far worse.
But you can now cross off ballet, twirling, sounding like a whole bunch of, like a goldfish,
Like a
off
goldfish.
your bucket list.
Yeah, totally.
You were
totally.
so welcome.
So, normally we end the show where I would plug my stuff. However, in this particular case, I think that's not quite appropriate. So, do you have any shows or anything coming up?
I do. Unofficially, I will have an art show coming up. So I am an artist. I do. Lately, I've dabbled a lot back into black and white film photography. I have my own darkroom. So I will be doing a show coming up later this year, hopefully in Weeds Cafe. It's still not completely confirmed, which will be a combination of paintings as well as my photography. And that is all that is for sure right now.
That's cool. And how can people find you?
Well, they could probably come to my house.
They could.
Fly on a plane. I don't have a website because I'm a terrible person that lives in the year 1862.
But you have an Instagram, didn't you?
Oh, I do. It's Unveiled Wisdom. Unveiled Wisdom. Unveiled Wisdom. That is basically it's all the photos taken with my iPhone. To be honest, everyday life. It's not necessarily my black and white film stuff. I will at some point learn how to scan my photos in properly, and then I will have an Instagram for that. But you can always look up the hashtag RayHopeArt. Hope is my middle name. So I often go by Ray Hope when it comes to art stuff. So that has some of my paintings on it. But that is all I've really mustered up so far.
All right.